Well, welcome back, everyone, on this series where you get to know some of our coaches in our Vikings athletics department. And today we have a very special coach, one who is actually stepping down, Misty May-Treanor.
Hi,
Misty,
everyone.
thank you for joining us on this.
No problem.
Misty, you're actually too young to be a legend in your sport, but I think you are. And
You
so,
see that?
is that a little gray?
That says, no, I'm not too young.
And you and I go way back to your days at Long Beach State. But even before Long Beach State, I know that your mom and dad had a big influence in your development as a volleyball player. And we'd see your mom and dad at the games at Long Beach State. Tell us a little bit about them and how they impacted your career.
So a little bit of my background was I grew up in Santa Monica. I feel like that's a big beach hub. You know, everybody would talk about Santa Monica with beach, but I didn't necessarily play. I didn't start off with beach volleyball. Both my parents were athletes. My dad was a 68 Olympian for the indoor Olympic team, so he participated in Mexico City. And then my mom was a tennis player. She played at UCLA. And then when she met my father, she got the volleyball bug, I think, to catch his eye. And then she actually dabbled a little bit at Northridge and then went to Cal State LA. So I was raised around the game because they owned a pizza stand on the boardwalk of Santa Monica. Now that whole location has changed a lot. So any weekends I was at the beach, I was a beach rat, but I really loved soccer. I was a big soccer player and dancer, and volleyball was just something our family did together. The neat thing is, I think most people, and it's like parents now, they push their kids into something. I think that sometimes can backfire, and my parents didn't do that. My mom never really pushed me into tennis. My grandparents tried to get me to play tennis, and I just didn't have the passion for it. So I was never really pushed into volleyball. It's just something I enjoyed doing. But I was a big soccer player and tennis player, or soccer player and dancer. And I think by them allowing me to play a wide variety of sports, which again, the kids these days, I don't feel has that luxury. And I'm probably a coach's nightmare because I want kids to play various sports. I think until you sign on that commitment line, you be a kid and play as many sports as you can to become a better, I think, well-rounded athlete. But no, I would say my dad was probably my longest standing coach, my most critical coach, just because he knew the game. But no, I wouldn't be where I was. I wouldn't have had the career I did without them, paying for me to be a participant in club, driving me to the tournaments, spending the time that they had off, making sure that I could participate on teams. So, I mean, what they gave is very valuable. I don't think I could ever repay them enough for what they did. But that's how they influenced me. And just, I was lucky enough too to be that kid at the beach. I was raised around some of the greats in our sport. Coach Karai, Liz Massakayan went to Santa Monica High School. I got to see her. I was that kid around, all the greats growing up. So a lot of people had, influence on what I was going to do, but definitely my parents had the most. Plus two, I wouldn't be in the position I would with Long Beach City because my mom got her master's degree. She got her master's degree in special education. And I thought that was super cool, her studying and going further than just getting her normal college degree. So I wanted to follow in those footsteps. I wasn't quite sure. I knew I wanted to get a master's, but I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. I just wanted to be like my mom. So I'm only the second one in my dad's family to get a master's degree. His sister received a master's degree, and then I did on my dad's side, and then my mom had got a master's degree. So that was something I aspired to do, and how I ended up kind of getting to the position I was at Long Beach City.
That's a great story, and I couldn't agree with you more. As an athletics director uh, at Division I for a long time, one of the sad things you see are kids who are coming in as freshmen and having injuries that are 30-year-old injuries, injuries of a 30-year-old because they've been playing the same sport all the time. And
Yeah.
they're
Oh,
being broad in what you're experiencing as a sport, in sport, really allows you to develop as an athlete, not just a player in that sport. And when that athletic ability really starts to kick in, that's really when you can excel in that sport. And it's too bad that so many parents are really trying to push kids to specialize and not have a broad range of experiences.
and like you said, you see so many injuries, and the training obviously has changed since when I played. But people, I feel a lot of athletes coming in overtrain, and it's kind of funny with what is happening right now, because I do get on a couple, like I'll talk to different teams on Zoom, and one of my things is you never have this time. Like we've all kind of wanted this time where things are shut down so you're able to do, take care of business maybe you weren't able to, but you don't really plan on it happening. Well, it's happening. And so one of my things for the young athletes is that it's okay you don't think about your sport 24/7. There's only so much you can do by yourself. There's only so much body weight training. I have been telling everyone, hey, use this time. If you've ever wanted to learn how to sew, use this time to sew. Do something else. And that kind of goes with learning a different sport. I tell them, hey, if you have a brother that plays soccer and you've never picked up a soccer ball, go out and have him teach you play soccer. Go out and juggle. Go dribble a basketball. Try to do something during this time that will, benefit you, so.
Yeah, that's a great philosophy. Most great athletes have an instance in their life when they realize that they could be something special in the sport that they're participating in, or something that has formed their attitude towards who they are as a person or an athlete. Tell us about a time when that happened to you.
I didn't aspire to be a Olympian. Like I always watched the Olympics, but I would hear my dad's stories and I was like, oh, that's neat. And you don't really know the people, when you're young, you don't really understand who those people are until you get older, and maybe you have to do projects in school, or the Olympics come on and then they talk about the history. So I always heard about my dad's Olympics, but I never was like, oh, I'm going to be an Olympian one day. It wasn't until I actually went to Cal State Long Beach and started setting under Debbie Green that and it was my sophomore year, that I was like, oh, you know what? I could see myself maybe going overseas or maybe making the national team. And still the Olympics, it was not in my view. So it wasn't really until my sophomore year in college that I thought I could do something greater. So I know that I feel like that's kind of a late time to decide that or think that, but I just never thought. And maybe it was the positional change, because I was recruited as an outside hitter, and I'm pretty sure I'm 5'8.5", and now in our sport that would be short. So maybe it was making the positional change to a setter that kind of opened my eyes to something else, or because I excelled at that as quickly as I did, that allowed me to think further.
I think one of the benefits of beach volleyball and indoor volleyball is how well they complement each other, because you can't be a great beach player unless you're a great all-around player, where the indoor game really sort of specializes on positions and skills within those positions. The growth of beach volleyball has been spectacular, and I think you're credited for much of that growth in there. Tell us about your Olympic experience in beach, and any highlights or memories?
It's kind of funny you should ask that, because in the evenings I have had a bunch of VHS tapes and mini tapes, and I'm like, I wonder what's on them. And I bought this little converter because I wanted to send them away and get them transferred, but because a lot of them are copyrighted, they're not able to. So I'm like, okay, let me buy this little machine. Let me look at these tapes. I found when Carrie and I first teamed up, when we first played, I found when Holly and I, because Holly McPeak and I had partnered for the 2000 Olympics, I found those videos. I found my senior tape from Long Beach State, conference championship 1996. So you know how you're like, oh, walk me through some of the memories. I'm like, oh, I'm like traveling back in time in the evenings, and it's kind of neat. You know, it feels like yesterday, really, to tell you the truth. I watch the tapes and I'm like, oh, I feel like I could still be out there playing, and wow, this just happened. And then I realize, oh, that was like 12 years ago, you know? So, but every time I watch the video, I relive. My heart's pounding. I'm getting the goosebumps. I'm reliving kind of those things. I actually found a picture of me and Kobe from the Olympics. So that was kind of special, and just going back and seeing who I've actually walked with, who I've come in contact with, is amazing. Some of the greatest athletes in the world. And but the Olympics, I mean, that's the pinnacle of our career, especially for beach.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I'd be playing indoor a lot longer than I did, so I made my transition out to the beach a little bit later than most players. And now, because it's in college, the players are better. They have training when they're younger and able to make the transition a lot faster. But just being able to say you're part of an Olympic team is great. And then being able to say you're an Olympic champion, that's something nobody will ever be able to take away from us. And I've kept all my memorabilia. So I've kept all my opening ceremonies outfits. I won't fit in them anymore, but I've kept all of that so I can show my kids. And I guess that's one of the fun parts, is finding these treasures. Is I'll be able to show Malia and then Matt, because I wasn't with Matt in 2000, and then he was able to follow the journey in 2004 when Carrie and I won the first gold medal. But it just it makes me smile, because the work I put in behind the lights, behind, you know, off the court, the little things that people wouldn't know, and they still probably wouldn't even know because I don't talk about it, paid off.
Great. You know, you have a unique relationship with Matt, because both of you are professional athletes. Both of you ended up stopping your careers, ending them. And it doesn't make much difference whether you're a high school or a collegiate or a professional athlete. So much of your self-image and self-esteem is surrounded by the fact that you're an athlete. And when your ability to compete ends, now you have to sort of alter your self-image and change. Tell me about how you and Matt work through the fact that no longer you're professional athletes and transition to that next self-awareness of where you want to be in life and what you want to be doing. Was it tough?
Yeah, I think it's tough for all professional athletes. And you see, you know, some of the issues they go through once they're out of the spotlight. Lucky for me, my mom always, because I wanted to aspire to get the master's degree, I always grew up kind of having two passions. Because my parents were influential in not only helping me, but they would coach kids. I enjoyed the coaching aspect. So I knew at some point that would be a good field for me to be in, because I love coaching and teaching. So when I talk to young kids, I tell them it's okay to have two passions. You know, everybody gets locked in on, I'm an athlete. Well, if you're an artist too, don't stop that just because you're an athlete. Continue to do something else. You know, you always have to have a plan B. But I think too often the athletes focus on plan A, you know, and they don't come up with an exit strategy. And I think it's important. Everybody's athletic life ends at some point, either abruptly with an injury or, you know, who knows, or just for me, it was like my body started giving out. It was just time. We had a family, and it was just time. And you have to come with grips that the game is going to carry on. You carried it to a certain point. The game is going to continue. And it's now the next generation that needs to pick it up from where you left it off and, continue to build. But I think because I had that other passion, I had the right team around me. And what I mean by team is like-minded people, people that aren't going to be anchors, people that are always going to allow you to kind of chase your dreams or to help you elevate yourself. Because I had a good team around me, I never felt like I was stuck in a rut or what am I going to do now? Like Matt, he took a lot of time taking care of our kids so that I was able to pursue the job at Long Beach City.
And so,
and
how did you get to Long Beach City College, and how did you get that job? Why did you want it?
So, living in Long Beach, volleyball has always been a big hit in the city. So Long Beach State has won numerous volleyball championships. And then Long Beach City, I had a lot of friends when I was at Cal State Long Beach that played at Long Beach City, and they went to state, and they're some of my dearest friends. And I always liked giving back. And I saw that Long Beach City, their program was struggling a little bit. And I had finished my master's. I had volunteered at Long Beach State and then went to SC and volunteered to USC and volunteered for the beach to learn about a 4-year program. And I just had kind of seen how compliance was at those levels and how I would have to push aside some of my other passions, which were running clinics, working with kids, doing numerous talks. And I just didn't like how held back I felt at the Division I level with all the rules of compliance. And I knew, since both my parents had coached at Santa Monica City College and they were part of the community college, and I grew up, I was a 2-year-old running around the gym at Santa Monica City, I knew that was a great place if you want a family to be at. And obviously, I mean, you don't have to travel as much as a Division I, but I thought I could make a huge impact, or at least a little impact, and but in my head, a huge impact with Long Beach City and get the program up to where it used to be. Why not? I live 7 miles from the school. And so I went through the whole interview process. I applied, and really, this is my first job. You can call volleyball my job, and most people say, oh, volleyball was your job. Yes, it was a career. I had fun doing it, but this is my first real job. And so I went through the whole process. I didn't know if I was going to get it or not, but I thought, hey, to go through the experience, if something else opens up, at least I know what the process is going to be like. Mm-hmm. So I applied and ended up getting the job. And, like you said, I'll be stepping down for no other reason. Our families grew by 2. Our family grew by 2. So now we're a family of 5. And it just is making it difficult. And, when you work with teams, you want to be in full time. It's like Coach Gruden with football. I mean, you hear about how many hours he's watching film and he's breaking down. It's almost like he's more involved with the football than his family, but that's how we feel about our athletes. They're like our kids, and we're like, we got to give them everything. And if something fails, we got to go back to the drawing board, and we're trying to figure it out. Sleepless nights, and I just can't commit to having that much time that I would want to be able to give the kids. So that's why I'm, stepping down. But that's how I ended up at Long Beach City.
Well, certainly being a mom and being a wife trumps being a coach. I'm glad that you're making that kind of decision. But I do have a 2-part question for you. Your staff, what's it like to coach with your dad? And then Tyler is going to replace you as the head coach, Tyler Jackson. tell us about her and her readiness to be the head coach at Long Beach City College.
So I'll go first with Tyler. I think she was a little nervous because she asked me about midway, are you sure you don't want to come back, next year? And I was like, no, I have to do this because my family, I don't want to miss out on things with my kids, and it's just time. And I told her, I said, you're ready. As coaches, it's especially head coaches, I feel it's our job, no matter what level you're at. And I talked about having a good team around you to elevate you. It's our job to, I feel, move our assistant coaches to progress where they're going, not let them, think of themselves as just an assistant. And with our staff, that was one of the great things. Even though I was the head coach, there was 5 of us, and we all had a piece of the pie. So it wasn't my way or the highway. We all had a say. And Tyler, I pushed her into getting her master's degree. So she got her master's degree. I said, it'll pay off. You just see it'll pay off. And, she's ready. She's young, which is great for not only the team, but she can commit to that time. And this will be good for her. She's, on top of it. She's already communicating, getting all the girls ready, but she knows the system. And it was a hard decision to resign, but I didn't want to resign and leave the girls in limbo. It's not fair to anybody, and it made the most sense to have Tyler, step into the position. I believe Tyler will be there. I think Devon will be there, and Devon's been with us for 3 years. Tyler, my whole stint with LBCC for 4 years. But I think she's excited. She's excited and kind of wondering what's going to happen during the summer. I talked to her the other day, and she's like, I think we're doing everything online summer, but I'm not sure. So I kind of gave her some advice. So she's been asking me different questions. I've been helping her along the way. But like I said, she's young, feisty. She's been in the club and high school level, and so she knows what she's doing.
Great. And
then with my dad, it's pretty funny because he's like a comic relief in practice. All the girls love him, and his vocabulary is funny, and he forgets people's names, and so they all have a good time with him. But that's one of the hardest things too, because I felt like a lot of my time, he's not getting any younger, and he'll be 79 in November. And I felt like the only time I was actually seeing my dad was in the gym, so you couldn't really get that personal. We were coaching, and again, that's kind of another reason, because I know he's not getting any younger, even though he thinks he is, but he's not. And being able to spend time with him outside the gym will be nice. But no, he's comic relief and fun, and he enjoys what he does, and he brings a very technical aspect to the game.
Your dad is terrific, and he's got a great sense of humor. I did not realize he was an Olympian.
Yeah. So he was in Mexico City.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've seen a video of Malia doing the butterfly. And she's how old now? 5?
5.
Yeah, this video was a few months ago, so she may have even been 4. She's got great form. And
she worked at it.
She looks really good. She may be a swimmer. You may have a swimmer in your family. Talk about Matt just for a little bit, because I know that Matt also volunteered with our baseball program and served a role there. Talk a little bit about Matt, and talk a little bit about your 3 kids, including the twins.
Yeah, Matt definitely, like I said, he would take the kids in the afternoon, so I was able to do what I could at Long Beach City. But he loved being out there with Casey and the guys. And I think if it wasn't for us moving cities, he would still love to get out there. And he had a great time. I think what makes it tough for him is he doesn't have any college credits. He actually tried to go back to school, actually begin school, and he went through a semester, and then his mom got really sick and we took her into our house and he nursed her back to health, and that kind of put a stop on his college because he's like, I'm 42, what am I doing? You know, going back. And so I think if he could coach at a higher level, he would love to do that. But yeah, he's, you know, we made the move, so he's trying to get things buttoned down around here. And he got into jiu-jitsu, so he's into jiu-jitsu, which is good for him. But I think he'll end up looking maybe at some more baseball stuff once kind of everyone figures out what's going to happen, once everything starts to open back up. And then we have 3 kids. We've got 2-year-old twins, Mia and Melly, and then 5-year-old Malia, who's into dance and swimming. So yeah, if summer was around, I put her in a swimming camp at the school. So definitely she loves the swimming though.
Good for her. Good for her. Well, Misty, on behalf of everyone in Long Beach City College and our program, thank you for being our head coach these 4 years, for all the good work that you've done, for the influence that you've had on our young women in the department, and the ongoing influence that you have in your sport. Thank you for doing that, and we're so grateful. Any final words for the people who are watching this video?
No, I think everybody, hopefully you guys are staying safe and we'll get through this soon. And for you athletes out there, again, take this time to enjoy your family, reconnect with people, make sure you're doing your online studying. Because us coaches, we can only babysit you so much, you know, from afar. Make sure you're staying up with your studying. Good luck to all the transfers. And I'm excited, you know, Long Beach City is getting new facilities, so I'm excited to see how that progresses, and I won't be a stranger.
No, you know, once a Viking, always a Viking. So just to echo what Misty said, for all of you who are watching, stay safe, stay healthy, stay sane, and go Vikings.